A father loads his pregnant wife into his truck while his 2 daughters sit in the back, still alive. Hours later, they're all dead. And the man responsible, he went on camera and begged the world to help find them. This is the case of Chris Watts, a man who looked completely normal until he wiped out his entire family for what prosecutors called a fresh start. But here's where it gets disturbing. The deeper you go into this case, the more confusing it becomes. One person online said, "He represents every woman's worst fear, the perfect husband who suddenly isn't." Another wrote, "She knew something was off, but never in a million years thought he could do this." And then there are the darker takes. People keep trying to find a reason, like there has to be something behind it. Because this case isn't just about what happened, it's about what people think happened, what's actually proven, and everything in between, from confirmed facts to speculation to full-blown internet theories. So tonight, we're breaking it all down. The truth, the lies, and the disturbing questions that still don't have clear answers. This is The Unknown Files. I'm Ryan Z. Let's get into it. Welcome back to The Unknown Files. I'm your host, Ryan Z. Tonight's case is one that looks normal on the surface. A smiling family, 2 young daughters, a baby on the way. But behind that picture-perfect image was something far darker. This is the story of the Watts family murders, a case that continues to disturb, divide, and raise uncomfortable questions even years later. Chris and Shanann Watts seemed like a normal American family. They met around 2010, connected through Facebook, and eventually married in 2012. They moved to Colorado, bought a home, and had 2 daughters, Bella and Celeste. By 2018, Shanann was pregnant again, expecting a baby boy named Nico. On social media, their life looked ideal. Videos, smiling photos, family moments. To outsiders, everything seemed fine. But, as we'll see, what people show publicly isn't always the full story. According to multiple sources and friends, co-workers, and later reports, the marriage wasn't perfect. There were financial struggles, including a bankruptcy and 2015 signs of marital tension, and eventually distance. One co-worker later described Chris as changing in the summer of 2018, becoming withdrawn, irritable, even angry. Around the same time, Chris began an affair with a co-worker. This is a confirmed fact, and it becomes one of the central elements in understanding what happened next. Early in the morning, around 1:48 a.m., Shanann returned home from a business trip. She had no idea that would be her last night alive. Later that day, her friend Nicole Atkinson became concerned when Shanann missed appointments and stopped responding. Police were called. Inside the house, her phone was found. Her purse was there. Her car was still in the garage. Her wedding ring was left behind. But Shanann and the children were gone. Chris Watts appeared on TV, pleading for their safe return. But within days, everything unraveled. Chris failed a polygraph test. Soon after, he confessed. At first, he told investigators that Shanann had killed the children, and he killed her in response. This was a false confession. Later, he admitted the truth. He murdered his wife, and he murdered both of his daughters. According to his later admissions in the investigation, Chris strangled Shanann inside their home. He then loaded her body into his truck, with his daughters still alive. He drove them to a remote oil site where he worked. There, Shanann was buried in a shallow grave. Bella and Celeste were smothered. Their bodies were placed inside oil tanks. This part of the case is fully confirmed by evidence and confession. So why did he do it? Prosecutors described it simply. He wanted a fresh start, a new life, a new relationship, without the responsibilities of his family. Chris himself later said something chilling. He claimed it felt like there was already something in my mind, like it was going to happen, and I had no control. That statement exists, but what it actually means is still debated. This is where the case becomes complicated. After the murders, the internet exploded with theories. Some people began analyzing Shanann, her personality, her parenting, her social media. Some even made extreme accusations. Important. Many of those claims, including abuse, medical manipulation, or extreme behavior, are not proven facts and often come from speculation or online discussions. At the same time, there are confirmed realities. The marriage had stress, finances were strained. Chris was having an affair. He deliberately murdered his family. Everything else must be separated carefully into fact versus interpretation versus speculation. One recurring discussion around this case is social media. Shanann posted frequently about her family, her husband, her life. Some interpret that as pride sharing happiness. Others speculate it could reflect image building or even underlying stress. But again, that is interpretation, not fact. What is clear is this: we often judge lives based on what we see online, and sometimes that image hides everything. Chris Watts pleaded guilty in November 2018. He was sentenced to multiple life sentences, no possibility of parole. He is currently in a maximum security prison, but the story didn't end there. Shanann's family has spoken out about something unexpected: years of online harassment, conspiracy theories, false accusations, even claims that blame the victim. In 2025, her brother won a legal case against a YouTuber for defamation. This case didn't just destroy a family, it created a second wave of harm online. This case stands out for one reason above all. There were no obvious warning signs of what was coming, no long history of violence, no clear build-up to something this extreme, which raises a disturbing question. How well can we really know someone? Because to Shanann, Chris was a husband. To his daughters, he was their father. But in the end, he became something else entirely. The Watts case isn't just about a crime. It's about perception versus reality, truth versus speculation, and how quickly everything can change. It reminds us that sometimes the most dangerous stories are the ones that look completely normal. If you found this episode interesting, make sure to follow the Unknown Files. I'm Ryan Z, and I'll see you in the next case.